Welcome to People in Profit. I'm Kate Moody. This week we bring you a special show about buying, selling, and marketing. Coming up, telling you what to buy or helping you save time. How artificial intelligence is working its way into our supermarkets. What role do personal data play in 21st century marketing? And how can brands keep customers loyal? We put the questions to an expert. And appealing to all the senses, our reporters find out how the power of smell impacts decisions. Artificial intelligence is popping up in supermarket aisles and shopping malls around the world. The technology is revolutionizing the retail sector, making a trip to the shops a more pleasant and efficient experience for consumers. But activists have once again raised concerns about the harvesting of personal data. Thomas Waterhouse takes a look.
If you hate the long queues at your supermarket checkout, one Israeli company thinks it has the answer.
Marshmallows.
Barbecue sauce.
This is their state-of-the-art AI shopping trolley, which detects and scans products and charges the customer when they walk out the store.
The cart is capable to identify visually within less than a second every product you put in and you take out.
Customers have to present an ID card before they can get shopping. And once they're logged in, the system can track and record their every move in real time. And it can also try and influence how they splash their cash.
We know that usually after the vegetable, this guy go to the frozen food. So if we want to keep him longer in the store, maybe we will send him the coupon to the drink section. So we're sure that after the drinks, he will go to the frozen food.
Other companies have already jumped on the bandwagon. Or should that be Shopping Trolley? Caper, for example, has its own version, which makes life even easier by suggesting recipes. While similar product scanning technology is used in Amazon Go's cashierless stores. But experts have raised an eyebrow about the extent to which customers' lives are being invaded.
In order for consumers to trust this new idea and to be able to use it with confidence, it requires transparency. It requires that people know exactly what type of data is being collected about them.
Despite those privacy worries, retailers are still predicted to spend billions in the coming years on AI technology. And there'll also be robots on hand to carry out stock checks and even handle customer complaints.
Well, for more, we can speak to Chris Hackley, Professor of Marketing at Royal Holloway, University of London. Thanks for joining us on People in Profit. Much as big data has changed every aspect of our lives, has it also played a role in the way 21st century marketing is done nowadays?
Well, it is indeed, but of course the proprietarial digital platforms own the big data, and they're the people who analyze it. So most of us are looking in from the outside, and we have to see what we can infer from smaller slices of it.
What is being inferred? What can you garner from the little bits of information that are given out by the people that control the data, if you will?
AI is a big issue for the future in digital marketing, and user experience is going to be transformed by it. So organizations can receive real-time data back on consumer responses, and they can modify that, and of course AI can learn from it. So for example, Google recently unveiled a device they call Duplex, which they sort of claim passed the Turing test, and so such devices as those could interact with us in customer service environments, and they could make bookings for us and book holidays for us and so forth. So that's going to be a very big issue, because of course of all the data that Google and Facebook and the big players are getting back. In addition to that, of course, what individual brands can do is scrape smaller sections of data from particular platforms in order to understand how particular ideas and sentiments disseminate through social media. So that is a very important aspect of data analysis, which they will be working on in order to further integrate consumer experiences with their brand promotions.
Now, people are increasingly shopping online rather than in physical stores. Does that have an impact on their loyalty to certain brands?
I think loyalty is somewhat overplayed in marketing. Consumers are fickle, and if we are loyal, it's to the extent that it suits us to be so until we're not. So I think online shopping certainly gives us a greater range of choice at a much greater economy of effort. So to that extent, perhaps indeed, it does make us a little more fickle than before. But it also means that our experience and preferences can be molded and recorded and targeted at us. So there are ways in which brands can make use of online shopping in order to try to build a quasi-relationship. It's not a relationship, of course, and consumers don't really want relationships. What they want is what we want. But what the brands can do online is to integrate their delivery with our experience and thereby get a closer relationship with our needs and wants. At least that's what they try to do.
Let's talk about product placement a little bit. How effective is that as a way of marketing a product, either in film or TV or other parts of the press?
Well, it depends what the brand wants to achieve. So there are many different kinds of effectiveness. So, for example, in Bond movies, what brands achieve by being placed in those is a far greater audience reach than they would otherwise achieve, because, of course, market segments are one thing and movie fan bases are another. And a franchise like the Bond franchise reaches all over the world. So they can be very effective indeed. And product placement, of course, has become much more noted, and there's a great deal more spent on it than there has been in the past. So for brands, they do their own analysis, and that this is proprietarial, of course. They don't necessarily share it with us, but they obviously feel that it is very good value for money. And of course, they pay extraordinary sums in order to feature in major entertainment vehicles. And of course, product placement exists in novels and radio shows and books and TV shows and computer games and so forth. So many other entertainment vehicles besides movies.
How much of effective marketing is about science and how much about emotion?
It's all about emotion from the consumer's point of view, in my opinion. We are emotional beings, and we buy stuff we like. We spend stuff we like. Obviously, we have to perform certain functions in our lives. So if you need new car tires, you need new car tires. But there's a considerable emotional component in consumer behavior. From the brand's point of view, it's a lot about the science, because in the sense that they get the data back and they crunch that data to try and find out how to anticipate our patterns of behavior and our patterns of thought in order to mold their interventions around those. So I'd say it's both. There are strong elements of both in marketing.
What's the most important factor in a person's decision to buy or perhaps not buy a particular product or experience?
Well, unfortunately, the answer to that is that it depends. There are many, many different circumstances. I would say the most important single factor is probably the extent to which we have the opportunity to do so at the time when we want to do so. So, of course, the internet makes that extremely facilitates that very, very effectively for us, because with one or two clicks we can often see something and buy on impulse and have it delivered the next day. So I think opportunity and of course the ability to have the disposable income to do so are very, very important.
When you look at the global community that's been created today, how do companies target a specific culture or part of society?
Well, the best way to target a specific culture is to engage in an ethnographic quality of understanding of that culture. So in other words, to become part of it, or at least to contract other people to become part of it, and then tell the brand what's going on. A deep understanding of the culture is the premise of marketing. Some people say that marketing is science or whatever, but other people say it's the management of meaning. And the way that brands gain an understanding of consumer meaning in particular contexts is to understand the culture as they would understand it themselves. And it's through those interventions they generate the insights which should leverage the kinds of interventions that will benefit the brand.
Chris Hackley, thanks so much for joining us on People and Profit.
A pleasure.
Well, as brands jostle for precious attention from an overstimulated consumer base, many are increasingly seeking a sensory advantage. The sense of smell is one of the most closely connected to memory in humans, and specialized marketers are using that to help brands beat out their competitors by a nose. Farah Bushrak and Brian Quinn have this report.
Under rainy skies, a sudden whiff of summer draws customers into this Paris boutique. It comes from this diffuser near the door, pumping out a mix of bergamot and tiare flowers that customers don't always even notice.
Maybe I have a cold.
Si, ça sent très bien.
Yes, it smells quite good, but I didn't think it was anything out of the ordinary.
De spécial, quoi.
But this is no random scent. Just like with its logo, the store has chosen a unique blend to leave an impression on its clients and boost its sales.
The advantage of a special smell is an identity, which is very important for us. And obviously, customers will stay longer in a store that smells good than in one that doesn't.
The precise impact on sales figures is hard to quantify, but one study estimates a 38% boost in impulse purchases. Once reserved for fashion or hotels, olfactory marketing is now spreading to numerous sectors.
The practice has gradually spread to other businesses in other fields: insurance, real estate, car dealers, healthcare, all over.
It's even in the cultural domain, like here in the famous Hall of Mirrors at Musée Grévin. Completely renovated last year, this giant kaleidoscope was a centerpiece of the 1900 Paris exhibition. The new show is a feast for the eyes, ears, and the nose, thanks to a special scent created just for the occasion.
Here, it's not for boosting sales. We decided on a signature scent to boost the sensations and tickle all of the visitors' senses.
Humans remember just 10% of what they see, but 35% of what they smell, lending a rosy outlook to the future of olfactory marketing.
Well, that's all for now, but you can find the best of our coverage on our Facebook page, France 24 Business, or you can tweet me at Kate A. Moody. Until next time, thanks for watching.
French Guiana is France's biggest department and 7,000 kilometers from Paris. Its beautiful beaches and lush forests mask a somber reality. 22% unemployment, extreme poverty, dilapidated infrastructures. Its people feel abandoned by continental France. 2 years ago, anger exploded on the streets. 2 weeks of rioting and a general strike. Forced to negotiate, the government apologized and announced a €3 billion investment plan in healthcare, education and security. Our reporters revisited French Guiana. Were promises kept, or do people still feel forgotten by France?
2 years on from the unrest, we revisit French Guiana on France 24.